Hello everyone, as with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this, selling Bitcoins and buying XRP. So John Squire says, please exchange your Bitcoin for XRP if you haven't already. And he cites this clip from Davos in his post. Take a listen to what she says here.
1971 was the year of the so-called Nixon shock and the decision to delink the US dollar from gold. In an instant, the foundations of the Bretton Woods system and the entire global economic order set up after the war effectively collapsed. But it also had two major effects. It inadvertently created the conditions for what would become a truly global order, and it provided a sharp lesson for Europe and on the need to strengthen its economic and political power. It was a warning to reduce our dependencies, in this case, on a foreign currency. The world may be very different today, without any question, but I believe the lesson is very much the same. That geopolitical shocks can and must serve as an opportunity for Europe. And in my view, the seismic change we are going through today is an opportunity, in fact, a necessity, to build a new form of Europe.
What they want to do is push away from the US dollar and build an entirely new system. And what she was talking about is when President Nixon took the US dollar off of the gold standard. Now, a lot of people are saying we're going back to the gold standard, and I 100% agree with that, because when you see central banks stockpiling gold, they want to back a currency with gold. China wants to do it right now. Other countries are now leaning into this as well. And we know with a new financial system, we will see the rise of the Phoenix, XRP. Bitcoin is not going to be part of the new financial system. I don't care what Brian Armstrong has to say. Take a listen.
To exist for a long time, but we're also seeing the birth of a new monetary system that I would call the Bitcoin standard instead of the gold standard. And
he thinks that we're also going to back the US dollar with Bitcoin. It's like they talk their marketing book. That's what they do. They keep pushing this Bitcoin narrative, Bitcoin only, blah, blah, blah. But we all know as XRP holders that Bitcoin is just a distraction from the real disruption that's happening in the background. Jenny Johnson from Franklin Templeton warned us of that a long time ago. But here's Brad Garlinghouse telling the central banks that Bitcoin can't scale.
Because it requires capital to get it there. Our view in the future is you don't have to have this pre-funding, and instead you can use a digital asset to have global liquidity on demand. Now, we build upon a tech stack, an open source technology called XRP. XRP originally was built by some engineers who had seen some of the flaws of Bitcoin and the challenges of scalability around Bitcoin, where Bitcoin today, on a per transaction basis, it's rather slow and rather expensive. XRP is very fast, about 1,000 times faster per transaction and 1,000 times cheaper per transaction. The other dynamic, of course, of correspondent banking is some of the more quote-unquote exotic currencies, exotic corridors have been left to kind of stand on their own. And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and a level playing field.
That's why they were going after the unbanked back then. But when you see this right here, right? Picture XRP inside of a massive liquidity pool in between all of these countries' central bank digital currencies or even stable coins. And that was always part of the plan. And the BIS put that in almost every single white paper that they drew up for creating the new financial system. Start to feel like a simulation? XRP, if you know, you know. Timing is perfect right before market structure bill goes live. Now, everybody always said XRP will become the one world currency. It's going to become the world's bridge currency. I think back then in 1988, when that article came out, they were talking about a one world currency back then. But times changed and things changed with it. No longer do countries want to serve this country or that country. They all want a level playing field. They all want to create their own currency. But as they do that, they're going to need a bridge for that currency. And that's why XRP will rise like the Phoenix and become the one world bridge currency. And if you don't think the fear is real coming from Bitcoin maxis, just take a listen to Jack Mallers here.
Okay, emergency press conference. Ripple is undermining American prosperity and freedom. I can confirm Ripple is actively spending millions of dollars trying to undermine a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States of America.
I remember when that clip came out, and they actually believe that the U.S. government is going to spend trillions of dollars to bail out their bags, to pump Bitcoin. It's never going to happen because the American people don't benefit from a Bitcoin reserve in any way. Imagine buying Bitcoin, locking it away for 20 years, hoping to just pay off half the debt. Who wants to go along with that idea? Absolutely nobody. Bitcoin maxis love the idea of that, and they sure as hell are afraid of XRP. You know why? XRP is getting adopted. Bitcoin isn't. Brad Garlinghouse said, spirited dialogue during today's World Economic Forum session, to say the least. But one important point of agreement across the panelists was that innovation and regulation aren't on opposite sides. I firmly believe this is the moment to use crypto and blockchain technology to enable economic access for a more efficient, more scalable, and utility-focused global financial system. Brad is literally telling you that they are coming for SWIFT, that a new financial system is absolutely coming. And yet people still doubt that that's going to happen. This is coming together in real time right now. And even the AI knows it. Let's see Grok eliminate the future winner of cross-border payments. You see Ripple, Visa, PayPal, SWIFT. Look at who Grok removed. Ripple. Because you see it already. And everybody knows this is coming. But everybody right away looks at the price of XRP and they're like, well, it's not happening right now, so it's never going to happen. Things like this don't happen in a day. You got to remember, Ripple has been at this for over a decade. We are at the final stages before we see the rise of the Phoenix. Crypto wallet provider Ledger is targeting an IPO in the U.S. with a valuation of $4 billion US. So it looks like Ledger is going to now go for an IPO. I just want them to stop updating their software. I use Ledger and I use Decent. And I have some crypto on Ledger from years ago, but anything I buy today, it all goes on Decent. And that's why I got that affiliate with Decent, because I really like the wallet and I use it myself. Anyone who is telling you to loan against your XRP is an idiot. Never have anyone have claim on your bag besides you. Now, that was great advice years ago, but times have changed since then. Look at your options and weigh your options. Okay, so you cash out your XRP, you sell it. Now you either take that money into a stable coin or you take it to the bank and then you get US dollars for it. US dollars continue to lose value. And at the same time, you get to hand over 15 to 40% in capital gains tax to the IRS. My idea of borrowing against your XRP, you are off the hook for the taxes. You take a loan, you put the rest of your XRP to work for you, you get passive income, and you pay back the loan. And you never sold any of your XRP. Now, I would never have someone else custody my XRP. Like, remember back when they were doing the buyback scenarios and Jimmy Valley wanted to hold your XRP for you? I would never, ever, ever have someone else custody my XRP. Buy it on the exchanges and don't leave it there either. Not your keys, not your crypto. You buy it on the exchange, you move it to a wallet, and you do your own custody. But when it comes to taking a loan against your XRP, that's not a bad idea if you want to avoid the capital gains. More documented highlights from Ripple's G Treasury on IDCs. MarketScape positioning G Treasury as a worldwide AI-enabled mid-market treasury and risk management applications for scaling growing organizations. AI developments across Ripple's ecosystem are expanding. Soon, everybody's going to have an AI agent. So think about it like this. Let's go back to borrowing against your XRP. So the AI agent would most likely know that you just borrowed against your XRP. Now, whatever XRP you have left and other cryptocurrencies that you have left, that AI agent will go to work for you and get you the most passive income that it possibly can, so that you can pay off that loan. And this way, you don't have to do any of the work. AI will be doing all of it. That's the future, and that's what's coming. Even if you don't borrow against your XRP, you can hire an AI agent to get you the most out of your crypto. And now you're getting monthly passive income. You could reinvest some of that passive income, buy more XRP, put it out there, get passive income from it. Your passive income rises, and all of a sudden, you are on the path to generational wealth because you never sold your crypto. Now you could pass it on to your children, your grandchildren, and so on. But anybody that's rushing to cash out and take that money to US dollars, you got to be crazy. Take a look around. Look at inflation. You want to fight off inflation by earning off of your crypto. That's the path forward. And I am in no rush to cash out into US dollars. I will tell you that right now. And that time is approaching. We're all going to cross that bridge very soon as the price of crypto really starts to pop off. But until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.